we're going to talk about being wrecked, and certainly we've all been wrecked, but maybe none more than the ugly old goat. So.
Well, no, I'm actually going to talk about HODLing and saving and building. That's my topic, okay? And of course, everybody knows what HODL is. That means that you have to, you buy Bitcoin and you HODL it. You hold it 5 years, okay? So, you don't have a HODL, it's never too late. That's another mistake. First of all, we don't want you to, what we want to teach at this conference is don't lose your HODL, number one. Number two, it's never too late. If you don't have a HODL, you start. You don't have to worry about trading Bitcoin because you don't have a HODL yet, okay? Then HODL, be patient, and someday you're going to be rewarded. And now, because you're a savvy whole hodler, we twisted that word savvy into save. You reward yourself. In fact, Mad Bitcoin, if I'm not mistaken, didn't you one time buy a new laptop? How did you tell us about that?
Well, sure. One time, I had a little bit of Bitcoin, and as it is, they'll do one of those airdrops on you. So all of a sudden, they drop money on me, and I was like, wow, free money. So it was called Bitcoin Cash. Don't call it Bcash. They get upset. Even though it's the internet, we're all into the whole brevity thing. They get upset. And
we love you, Roger here, and we will respectfully call you Bitcoin Cash. Okay, but I don't want to hear this Bitcoin Core from his mouth again. And that needs to be eliminated from the website. And you know what? We'll welcome you back with open arms. You can't have a double standard here, Roger. Okay? There's Bitcoin and there's Bitcoin Cash.
Well, and if Roger did actually sell his Bitcoin like he said, when he said he was going to do it for Bitcoin Cash, he would have lost 423,000 Bitcoins, more than $500 million. But of course, Roger didn't actually sell, he just said that. Meanwhile, I got that Bitcoin Cash, and boy did I sell it. I sold a third early, a third in the middle, and a third late, and I would have been better off selling it all later. I was wrong on every single one, but I got a nice laptop, it still kind of works. Naming it after Bcash was probably a mistake. That's kind of giving it a cursed quality. But it still kind of runs, and it's really nice, and I take it with me everywhere and edit all my videos. So thanks to Bitcoin Cash for my free laptop. And of course, thanks to Bitcoin, which I ended up hodling anyway. So it was pretty good.
Well, then that's the third thing that we do, and that's that we build it. And so what is build it? That means you're investing, and you don't even have, now you and I happen to be in Bitcoin, okay? But I have another business, okay, and the Bitcoin, the goat lady, she's starting a business, and so she needs all of this equipment. So that's what build it is. You don't. Now I know that you've been buying some new equipment for your business. Is that right, Mad Bitcoin? Because look, you're really good at what you're doing, and I'm a little bit upset with the hardcore Bitcoin community. This is the original name. This is the original entrepreneur that turned me on way back in 2013 because you're Mad Bitcoin. I would do it right with you. I said, Mad Bitcoin? Mad Bitcoin. It was so much fun. This Bitcoin is fun, guys. If you're not having fun in Bitcoin, you don't know Bitcoin yet.
That's what I tried to do when I started the Mad Bitcoin show in April of 2013. There was really only Let's Talk Bitcoin. And I like Adam and I like the rest of the crew, but they're a bit like NPR. They're kind of like public radio. They're boring. I like them, but they're boring. And so after I went to sleep listening to Let's Talk Bitcoin, I thought there should be something more fun, something shorter, and something on YouTube. So I started the Mad Bitcoin show just to spread the word about Bitcoin because my family and friends were tired of hearing of it. And even now you look back, and I was talking to my cousin at the wedding recently, and she's like, yeah, I got this email from him. It was $150 and he told me to buy it. Then it was $250 and he told me to buy it. Then it was $350 and he told me to buy it. And you know what? I didn't buy any at all. And it's like, well, it's just embarrassing. They're my family or my friends. I just can't deal with it anymore. Because I was like, what am I doing spending all my time making this show if I'm just some dumb idiot? And I was early to the internet, and I was early to BBSs, and I was early to computers, and it's like, you're not going to listen to me now? And then the rest of the internet seemed to listen just fine. People come up all the time saying, we watched Mad Bitcoins, and now we're into Bitcoin. It worked. So we just keep doing it. We just keep trying to spread the word about Bitcoin, and it's gotten a lot bigger recently, so that's been pretty interesting. But just keep plugging along.
Well, I want to thank Zazo because I don't know, as soon as he told me his story, I said, look, Zazo, you'll really help a lot of people if you're willing to share your loss, because few people can do that, okay? And it's hard, it's really hard, and there's some very severe consequences about it. So, you know, we talk about getting wrecked, but I am the ugly old goat, and I didn't even know that goat had an anachronism until my son said, Dad, did you know what goat means? I said, what does it mean?
Greatest of all time. Greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali.
All right, so I have a surprise for everybody here. I didn't do this goat thing on purpose. It just kind of fell into place. That's the way life works. But now, and I can't even talk about this, I have a special guest who didn't want to appear on the program. And then he actually sent me his slides and he says, Dad, is this okay? And I go, wow, yeah, it's got to be out there. So you're going to learn from my number one son, Aaron, who I consider a man's man, and I respect him more than any other man in this world, because what I've learned from my oldest son is forgiveness. And he is an example of forgiveness to me. And but he'll tell about the greatest rekt of all time, and the sound money movement, and also I'll leave it at that because I can't tell this story. He has to, but I think it will help for the things that I hope to develop in the future. So you're the MC, Mad Bitcoin. I'm out of here.
All right, Aaron, come on down. Woo. He introduced himself to me yesterday as, I'm the ugly old goat's son. I'm like, who would introduce themselves as that if they weren't that?
Goats have kids.
Goat's kid, yes, yes. Family of kids. So here he is, Aaron, the ugly old goat's kid.
He's a Billy goat.
Or Billy goat too. I do have some slides. Can we pull those up? I'll give you a few minutes. I have some things to talk about. I was listening to Zazo, and I was just thinking about like how ugly taught me trading. And I was trying to figure out where this would fit in the slides anyway. So while we're waiting for those, ugly taught me trading and just in building and saving and various ways as I was growing up. And I'm sure all of you guys played Monopoly. Monopoly is how he taught me business. I right away learned you want to be the bank. I was never the bank. He was always the bank. The other thing he taught me is you always want, when you say rent, you always want to count the money that he's paying rent on, because it may not be right. And then third, he's going to roll the dice really fast if he lands on Boardwalk. You're not going to have a chance. But there was other games that he taught me. He got an old, it was new at the time. I'm sure it cost a small fortune. It was an IBM. I know Mad Bitcoin was asking him what his first PC was. I don't know if I think it was an Epson.
I think it's a typewriter or a calculator.
Yeah, well, it was those two, yeah. But we got an Epson at home. And I don't know if it was a floppy drive or if we had a tape thing. You put in a cassette tape and it played the game. But he got a trading game on that where it pop-up news and I could trade stocks or commodity. It wasn't stocks, it was just pork bellies, gold, silver. So he taught me trading on that, virtual trading. We played this game called Tycoon. I don't even know if they make it anymore, but that was it was all monopolies and mergers and things like that. But there's one game, and I'm actually gonna have to bring him up to show this game, and I'm hoping, David, can you come and participate in this game? Because I think you really have to see how this game is played. Hey, Goat, I think you need to show it. I can't do it justice. Does anybody have a penny?
Oh my God. I found it.
You know this game, I hope, right? If he hasn't taught you this game yet, you need to learn this game. This is the ultimate trading game.
We've played.
Okay.
Remember
Nobody
the
has
penny
a
game?
penny.
Remember the penny game?
Okay. We're gonna We're gonna put some chairs over here. I don't know. I'm gonna set this down.
Remember I go like this and you pick?
Oh,
Oh, okay.
So the way this works is we have some chairs over here. This was, I didn't realize this was
I don't know if I
training
do this
until
on my
just
broken
now.
finger because this finger doesn't close anymore, but we'll try. He's gonna see. Hey, but it's a good pointing finger. Okay, here we go. We can put the chairs right up here. We'll get
all right.
So we're gonna go from point 1 to point 3. We can't hear. Let me get a chair here. Now this is a really good training game. To get the camera. What do you want? Zayla, what do you want us to put the chairs here?
Threes might be too easy.
More over this way. There we go. No, just three other.
All right, 3.
All right.
All right, I don't have a penny. That's gonna. Oh, you got a
I
penny.
got a penny. All right.
All right, have a seat, David. This is where you start trading.
And all you have to do is pick which hand the penny is in, okay? And, you know, and the kids, they sit there and they can't figure out what it is, so you always want to help them, right? So, you know, I probably can't have this. Which one is it? Whoa, he's learned how to trade! Look at it! Yeah, come on, David, we move to the next year. Let's do this again. All right.
But make sure that you gotta let him.
I'm old and this finger doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
But let's see if I can.
He has to smell it. And you gotta listen. You gotta use all the indicators. Yeah. Hold it up to his ear so he, you hear it? You need to smell it?
That's the game.
That's the game. You make it to the end, Lambo.
All right. Thank you, Ray. That was a perfect illustration. Wow. Now we can do the slide.
Thank you, Okay, so yeah, I'm Ugly's kid. I've lived in his shadow my whole life. He really is in this space. Some of you might know his history, some of you might not, but he really is. He's been here since he was your guys' age, fighting this battle just in different fronts. And I'm not a public speaker, so I don't think this is going to work for me.
Not clicking it. Okay, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
So let me go over here.
Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay. So, Ugly's life really is an epic trilogy. It really is. And some of you know his story, some of you don't. But it's an epic. I've divided it up into the epic Star Wars trilogy. So when I saw Thomas's shirt, I was like, man, this fits in really well. A little bit different story to it, though. I like Bitcoin Strikes Back better than the Empire. So the first portion of his trilogy is from 1976, which happens to be the year I was born. Really good year. So like 1989-ish. That's the New Hope. This is the part of the story you guys probably don't know much about. After that, The Empire Strikes Back. That was a tough movie. But then 2000 is Return of the Goat. So you'll learn wrong way. New Hope, 1976 to 1989. Okay, the most important part of it is I was conceived, born. Everything after that to me is just like, that's gravy, right? So I'm here. I think it might be kind of important to him too. But after, when I'm growing up with Ugly, he'd take me on business trips anywhere, at whatever age. I went to Hong Kong when I was 2. I still don't really know why I was there. You take me off to like DC, it's a bunch of libertarians talking about free markets and sound money and the gold standard and all these things. So I'm bumping into like ghostwriters for Ron Paul and all these really great minds. I was young. I didn't know what I was picking up on, but it's just you're picking up all this information. It's great stuff, and it can't help but have an effect on your life. As I was growing up, for some reason, as traders, I remember Black Monday. I remember sitting at home at the dinner table. We had a little black and white TV, and just in the kitchen, we had a nicer TV in the living room, but in the kitchen we're watching that, and I just remember my mom watching that and being like, this is not good. I don't know how much it really affected our family, but I think it kind of affected the whole world. And so as part of trading, that's one of those things that sticks out. Family vacations, those were always business write-offs, right? so we're gonna go do something. So we're going to a gold mine, or we're going to some libertarian conference, or we're gonna go to some, or we actually at one point we went to a gold mint. That was pretty cool. I remember going through and seeing just tons of gold coins getting stamped, and we had to go through metal detectors on the way out to make sure we didn't take anything. Just really neat stuff. And then in 1989, he held a conference similar to this, probably more people. Again, he invited everybody to his house afterwards, and it was the Gold Standard Conference. So we'll go to the next slide. Okay. So this is, I don't know if you guys know this, but he's founded a corporation called the Gold Standard Corporation. And he is one of the first companies in the United States to mint their own coins. And his inspiration was really various economists like Friedrich Hayek, E.C. Harwood. I don't remember who the small guy is.
Henry Hazlitt.
Okay. So business was really good. I mean, 80s, Nixon, getting rid of the silver and everything. Business was good. We got a really nice house. I think we got a pinball machine one year for Christmas. I mean, we had Atari. He's driving a 280 ZX. My mom got like the nicest wood panel station wagon you've ever seen. Leather interior. Business is booming. Things are really good. One thing I remember is, and I'm not sure what year this was, and I meant to ask him, like, what was this about? But we don't need to go into the story on it. I remember he's off on a business trip. Ugly's gone on a business trip. All of a sudden, the FBI is calling my mom, saying, "Is your dad or is Ugly? Is he in USSR?" Apparently, it sent some videotapes to the news. He's smuggling gold to somebody in.
Andrei Sakharov.
Andrei Sakharov.
The Olympic boycott medal.
An Olympic boycott medal.
Yes.
So you can tell that story if people want.
Later, I can tell it sometime.
Yeah. But for me, it was like, this is just the world I live in. As I'm growing up, things are happening. He's always the biggest thing that's happening around anywhere. And that's just kind of the thing that happens. I don't know if a lot of you guys know, he also was the one to decimalize the troy ounce. So you see 0.50 instead of a half ounce, 0.25. That was his idea. And then finally, he's like, you know what? It's hard to transfer gold, so let's make a gold standard certificate. So this is early Bitcoin, but there wasn't Bitcoin yet, right? This people still thinking gold's the way to go. And there's problems with that. And you guys all know what those problems are, so I don't need to go into that. All right, now I dug up this quote, and I thought this was just incredibly appropriate. Because at this point, he's all in. Gold standard is the way to go. We're gonna have paper-backed certificates for gold. And he's got an interview with Reason, Richard Goring. And he's talking about a lot of conservatives want to bring the gold standard back and make it, so that the government uses the gold standard. And his answer to that is, No, it needs to be a free market. But it seems like it really applies to what we're talking about here. If you want to trade with gold, fine. But you shouldn't force it on other people. The gold standard might not be the best standard. Somebody might come up with a better one. By allowing the private marketplace to provide the solutions to the monetary realm, we can develop a sound currency. May the best system survive. And if that wasn't just like seeing the way ahead, I don't know what is. That's just calling Bitcoin to me, even though it didn't exist. It's understanding what Bitcoin is. It's a free enterprise. It's not something that's sovereign nations. It's not a sovereign currency. It's what the marketplace is deciding, and it's really the best thing out there, and it's better than gold. Okay, so this is also about trading. So Ugly back then was a trader as well. And again, I don't know a lot of the story on this, but I've heard him on his YouTube videos. He says, "I won't ever trade with other people's money." I'm not sure that was the case back in the 80s. And I think he made some very bad mistakes, and he had a disregard for money management. And one thing my grandfather always told me, because I talked with him, he was a big commodity trader as well, and he made and lost millions. Sitting down and talking with him kind of reminded me of listening to Tyler Jenks a bit. He said, never bet the family farm. And I think that's really good advice to live by. Of course, before he died, several months before he died, he came and he sat me down and he said, "Aaron, I need to tell you something." He's like, "I had to sell the family farm." I'm like, "I didn't even know we had a family." But he was so torn up by it, because even in his ripe old age, that was his thing. He just enjoyed trading. That was his thing, and anyways, don't bet the family farm. It's really good advice. Anyways, it led to the result is he made a lot of bad trading decisions, lost a lot of money, and I'm not going to go into the details of it, but it was tied to Gold Standard Corporation, or at least legally, that's what the law said. It resulted in divorce, resulted in depression. I remember coming home and walking into my room, going by the bedroom, and just seeing my dad just on the waterbed, because that's what they had back in the 80s, lying there he was just bawling, and just completely wrecked. And calling the pastor, trying to get people to come in and talk to him, just to get him back on his feet. And you think you lost like your families? He lost a lot. And it was more than just his families. It was other people's money. And it was really, really tough years. And I think desolation is a good word for it. He wound up spending time in Club Fed. I got to visit him for a number of years. The orange is appropriate for a number of reasons. And it was hard. It was hard for me growing up in my teenage years and tween years, going and seeing him. But he loved his family, and he made mistakes, but that doesn't mean he's not my father, and that doesn't mean he doesn't love me. It doesn't mean that I don't love him. It's just, you got to get past those things, right? But he also hurt a lot of people, and I think he regrets that as well. So that's The Empire Strikes Back. The Empire kind of kicked us in the nuts. Okay, so then Ugly gets out of jail. He got out a little bit before that, but parole didn't go well. So finally he gets out for good in 2002 with no strings attached. At this point he's been away for a while. Cell phones are I think they had the big giant ones in the 80s, but we got flip phones, right, in 2001. So, I mean, cell phones are completely new. Computers are totally different. The internet's just crazy. You know, it's past 1999. World Wide Web is booming. And this is all new to him. And so there's the challenge is he comes and he's trying to make a living. He's kind of caught up in this old legal stuff and the prison mentality. Pulling out of that was kind of a challenge for him. But it's like, look, Dad, you gotta get a job. You gotta go do something. You know, go to Manpower and do some work. He's like, I can't work for people. I'm like, well, get into sales, do something. Like, look, there's telemarketing now. Anybody can get a telemarketing job. So he goes, and of course, he can't really work for somebody. So he's like, I'm only gonna do this for commission. And, you know, starts making a killing doing telemarketing for another company, figures out the business. And of course, he doesn't want to work for those guys anymore, so he starts buying his own marketing equipment and builds his own business from the ground up. I mean, with nothing, and coming out with nothing, not a young man anymore. It's really impressive what he did. So that's the telemarketing game, and he worked really hard at it for about 10 years and was fairly successful enough to make a decent living and hodling, building, and saving, but it was all in fiat. You didn't know anything about Bitcoin yet. So telemarketing is going well enough that he decided, you know, I think I can afford to maybe reach out and find somebody to share this with and share my life with. At that time, 2012, started collecting Social Security checks. So there's bonus income too. And I know he's talked about that. But in 2013, Goat Lady and Ugly got married. And that was a really special day. I know for a bunch of us here, David and myself, and now I have a bunch of stepbrothers and sisters, and the family's grown, and it was pretty exciting. And sometime before this, I started talking to him about Bitcoin. And I said, look, Pop, Dad, you gotta look into this. This is right up your alley. This is the new gold, but it can't, it's a distributed network. It can't be shut down. Unconfiscatable. It's not confiscatable. You can't take it. And of course, if you know, look, the government was always going after him. He made bad decisions, but they were going after him anyway before that with gold. Gold is not something that is gold's not something that you can protect. You can't have unless you have the army, unless you're the sovereign nation. Bitcoin, you can hold on to that. Nobody can take it from you. And so I started just talking to him, and I was like, you gotta look into this. This is your thing. And I knew he was gonna grab onto it and just go crazy with it. And of course he did. So here's my first email. I sent him, interesting, Bitcoins. Interesting concept. I don't fully understand it, but it's intriguing. And that was just kind of left it at that. Then I sent him a few more articles from like Liberty Crier and some other libertarian sites, and then I think he started getting it. So 2013, in August, so from January to August, 8 months later, after chatting with him, showing some links, I get an email from him, and he says he's bought his first Bitcoin, and he's sharing that with people. Well, not much later in September, he sends me, he's trying to give it, he's like, this is the best thing ever. And he's sending 0.01 Bitcoin to people just to try to, from Coinbase, so it's not, you know, it's not your own wallet, but it's a Coinbase wallet. But he's sending them a bunch of people, and this is his thing. He's promoting it, trying to get people excited about it. In November, I've got an old motorcycle that I laid down, and I fixed it up again, but I was like, you know, we need to get it to somebody in Mexico that it can work. And he was like, well, let me give you a Bitcoin for it. I think Bitcoin were $200 at that point or something like that. So I had my 1.01 Bitcoin. And then to continue to try to like market it, he's he's offering his telemarketing services for Bitcoin. So he's out there in 2013, one of those first companies that's trying to get that out there. Okay, so I'm going through my emails for this, and next thing I know, I didn't even remember this email, but he sends me an email. He's like, yeah, my good friend Nick Spanos, who apparently did work with his telemarketing group, he's opening up the New York Bitcoin Center. And I'm like, I remember that, but I don't remember getting this email from him. And so he's already plugged into this. I mean, things are happening in 2014, and he's a part of it. And that's pretty exciting. Now he's sending me emails. Oh, I'm getting into mining. I'm doing it. I think he bought his own miner, and then he started investing in mining companies. And that was the next. You guys got to get into this. Buy Bitcoin, get into this mining stuff. And then he's like, nah, get out of the mining stuff. Most of them are all just, they're just there to rip you off. So don't buy those mining stuffs. And then I started getting emails on the altcoins. The altcoins are the next big thing. So I got Litecoin, and then Buttercoin. I don't know if the Buttercoins. Does anybody own Buttercoin there? He's like, oh yeah, you got to get Buttercoin, and Namecoin. And there were some other ones I won't mention that he sent me because they're probably not appropriate for everyone in the audience. But yeah, it was altcoin heyday for Ugly. He was not a standard bearer at that point. 2016, I don't know what happened in 2015. It was a quieter time. I'm sure I think most of the emails continued to say, buy Bitcoin. What's wrong with you guys? You guys need to buy Bitcoin. This thing's the next greatest thing. 2016, that's my first email that I got, and I'm sure he was watching before this, but he's like, you gotta watch this World Crypto Network. I really like Tone Vays and Gabriel Devine, specifically called out those two names. This is 2016, before Tone, I think, had broken off and started doing his own thing. And I think at that time, he was really doing the arbitrage with the peso. There was a value difference between the exchange rate between the peso and the dollar. So he was actually, that was a part subsidizing his income from that as much as just like trading. So I was hearing some of that. So 2017, I started getting these really erratic emails about get out of Coinbase. Now it's going down. He started going to war with Coinbase at that point. And the problem was with that is he sent out all these, he sent out 0.01 Bitcoin or whatever amount of Bitcoin to all these different people. Well, they never got them. They never got them out of Coinbase. So Coinbase owed them, all these people, these Bitcoin, but they weren't making good on it. And so he started fighting that battle, I think, around 2017.
Yeah, it's going to heat up, it looks like. I don't know if they're bone their neck. We're going to have a big Coinbase story coming out of it. It's going to come out one way or another. I just hope it's friendly. I want them, I don't want to destroy them, I just want them to do it right, that's all. And they know that, and the evidence is there, but they'll say that first.
Yeah. So a lot of these I don't need to go into detail in, but it's more just the history of the conversations, the email record that I had with my father. Next thing, it's like everybody knows what happened. Went to the moon. 2017, Goat's a Bitcoin millionaire. Well, he's on top of the world. He's buying houses. He's buying cars. Goat lady's getting beautiful dresses, and she, she's living large. What's that?
The Raptor.
Oh yeah, the Raptor. We had the Raptor, or you had the Raptor. Sold the Raptor.
She taught me how to buy and sell Raptors. She bought a Raptor for 7 Bitcoin and sold it for 45 Bitcoin. That's a pretty good trade.
And then, it's all, also at that time, it was like, it's all, BitMEX is where it's at. And I think he's still there, that BitMEX is the best exchange out there. I don't trade on BitMEX, don't really know a whole lot about it, but he thinks it's awesome, and I believe him. Okay, 2018, I think this is when the Bitcoin standard bearer release got coined. Started passing out the staffs, and this kind of became his big thing. And I think it really seems appropriate going from the gold standard to the Bitcoin standard bearer. He definitely has a place in that. Now suddenly social media, before he's kind of, I'm staying low profile, I don't want to get my name out there. Now, 2018, it's everywhere. Social media, the GOAT's everywhere. He's got his YouTube videos, he's got his Medium. I think a lot of you guys subscribe to him. And he's got his Bitcoin house. And I don't know, do we call it the Bitcoin house?
Yeah, I don't know what else to call it.
We call it Casa de Bitcoin, Bitcoin Hacienda. I don't know, but he's got his very own Bitcoin house, which is, how many people have that? And now we've arrived. We're at the cruise. So that's kind of all I wanted to share with you guys. This is sort of the history. Oh, and the one thing he wanted me to say is, so I don't really own any Bitcoin. And he's been telling me all these years, well, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. He's like, I feel like my son that feels like he kind of missed the boat. And I talked to some of you guys, and yeah, I mean, I missed the Bitcoin boat. I had one Bitcoin. I sold some of it around like 6,000, and then I sold pretty much the rest around 20,000. Well, I think it was 19,000. So I think I got out at the right time. But it was one. Why wasn't I buying that whole time? But I don't think I missed the boat so much because he got on the boat. And really, Bitcoin and the GOAT, they're like this. I mean, they're just meant for each other. I'm an engineer. I love it. I think Bitcoin's the way of the future. But I don't have the cojones to trade. I'm not a speculator. I got my 401k. I just keep putting money into that. I got my IRAs. But I did listen to Tyler Jenks, and I had a lot of respect for that guy. He kind of had more of the same mindset I do. And just trying to make, the more conservative approach, we're going to get there. I got a good job, secure job. I don't need to make my millions. I don't need to risk everything. But he said, look, it's important to put some of it away in Bitcoin. And then he talked about GBTC. And I know this isn't like real Bitcoin, but all my money's tied up in retirement accounts, right? So I was like, oh, I've got these IRAs. I didn't even know there was GBTC until he told me about it. There's no ETFs. I'm waiting for the ETF so I can move some of that money into it. So, as it is now, I've got about 5% of my assets in GBTC, and I understand, look, there's a 30% premium or whatever, but 30% is nothing in Bitcoin. It really is. I mean, so I'll say that point, I don't think I really missed out. I got into GBTC pretty close to the bottom, and it's gone up since there. So maybe I missed the boat, but I'm certainly not as leveraged as the GOAT. But this guy can.
Well, let me get up because let's talk a little bit about Tyler Jenks. This is good. This is really good. Tyler Jenks and I would not have related. When we knew the first time we talked, I said, when I was 20 years old, we could never have been friends. I mean, we were just. He is the epitome of a gentleman, and and conventional, but we read all the same books. So but I said, because of and I didn't know all the things that he'd been through, but somehow I just knew that because of what he'd been through and what I have been through, we just hit a chord immediately. And so, come on back up here.
I was walking on.
Yes, you can't walk away because I'm done. I know you're not done. You're up here. But I just want to share that because it's one thing that we, and Tyler, I wanted him to be the headline, and I feel so badly now that I didn't let him go on and on and on about his 10 pillars. But hey, you know what? Now we can all speculate on what those 10 things mean. So it makes it a little more intriguing. But Tyler and I, we probably would not. you know, I would have been not considered very conventional back there in the 1970s and 80s. But now I'm sure, but somehow, you know, we've all transcended this now. And like I said, all we have to do is look at the variety of people that are in this room, all over the languages, and anyway, it's just cool what's going on. And Aaron, you brought things up that I know were hard for you and hard for me, but this is important stuff, I think, because I do have some stories to tell. I have a few maybe good years left in me, Lord willing, and I still make some horrible mistakes. So all we can do is keep learning. So.
Oh, I did have one more thing.
Okay.
So you can stay up here. But I think one thing that I really like seeing that he's emphasizing, and I don't think that A New Hope Ugly would have emphasized this, is the money management side. And I think, what I really like about it is he's out there and he's public with it, and you guys are all holding him accountable. And I think that's really important. And I said something to Kostusas the other night also. I was like, you know what, Kostusas, I really enjoyed your money management video. And I was like, I'm so glad you're good friends with my dad, because he's mentoring you, but you're also mentoring him. And you got this, it's kind of both ways, right? I mean, he's talking about the gambler, and I think he was a gambler. I think there's not really a question about it. And having you guys here to kind of balance that, there's no question he knows how to trade. You know, there's no question about that. But I think with wisdom, maturity, experience, he's figured out this money management.
Well,
Kostusas told me it's like he's doing it. He's bought houses, he's building businesses, he's living what he's talking. And I think that's really fantastic, and so I think that's important.
Well, here's one, because you just opened up a new thing. One of the things I see Bitcoin developing, and I said that it's going to be, we're going to be setting the standard. They're going to love us, they're going to respect us, they're also going to hate us. We'll be setting the trends. Bitcoin Katrina wants to be a Bitcoin master chef. Wow, what a great idea. The Goat Lady has always dreamed to be a world-renowned fashion designer. If she can achieve that, you know, I don't have to be around for it, but it's just knowing that she can, and I think that she probably will. This is fun and exciting, good stuff. But I think the most important thing that you just brought up, I would say, what we're also going to determine the morality. And the only way that we can develop that morality is what you just brought up, and it's because we hold each other accountable. And that's what Bitcoin does too. You know what? Trust and verify. That's what this is about. Okay? And I'm of the very deep opinion that Bitcoin will never become the standard without banking. And banking is a matter of trust. But it's been done in the past and will be done again. So I'm done. Hey, Mad Bitcoin, you need to take over this show because I'm not the MC.